Hey, I'm gonna try and do this. Hey, Dennis. Hope everything's going good for you over there. I'm gonna try and show you off my plans what I did. So here we go. So this is the forward wing skins, and what I did was I laid out the entire sheet, and then if you see here on the plans, it shows that there's a line here at wing station 131 and 11/32, which is actually 112 and 5/16 from this one here, wing station 19 and 1/16 of an inch. So what I did was look over here and you see A and B, which is this small space. And down here is table A and B. So what I did was I looked down here and see where I am on B, and also look up here at C and D and look at D and find the longest length that I have. On D it's 1 and 15/64, and on B it's 1 and 15/64. So since this piece sticks out furthest out here, I assume that that's the 1 inch and 15/64. So what I do is I came in about 2 inches from the edge of my sheet on the aluminum. This edge down here I kept as a factory edge. So I came in 2 inches and I drew this wing station line up my sheet. This side is also square, so I was able to measure from the edge of the sheet to the top of the line here, to where the line is 2 inches in, and where it's 2 inches in down here, and that gave me this reference line. Then what I do is you have to go over here and just kind of figure out what it's saying. You know, it's basically every 2 inches, and there's a distance 0. So what I did was I noticed that the 1 and 15/64 was the furthest out, so that's here. So then for me 0 would be here, and then I would just mark on my sheet along that reference line. I would mark every 2 inches to 14 inches. Then what I would do is I would go and I'd mark all those off with my highlighter. Then I go over and I start at 0, which is here, and I measure in 13/32 and make a dot. And then I come down to 2 inches and measure square across again and make a dot at 17/32. And then I come down here to 4 inches down, and that would be 5/8 of an inch in out from the line. I'm sorry, all these are out from that reference line. Sorry, my mistake. So you go off the reference line and just kind of visualize the numbers as they go out. The first time I did it, I drew it out on a piece of paper just to kind of get an idea of how things were going. So what they do is they give you clues to where your starting reference line is, or how to get a reference line. And on this one, on the forward wing skin, it's this line here, and then everything measures off of that. If you see here, it'll measure all the way across to this reference line, and then it'll show that everything does the same. And you just measure in, and you just kind of have to go and look at F is the distance from the line in, and E is the distance from wherever the starting reference is to the ending reference. And in this case, on this one, the closest is at 2 inches, so you would come up here 2 inches, go up and then measure in what this distance is, and so on and so forth all the way up. And then you have to do the same thing here and take a look at it and see this is the furthest distance away up here, which is the furthest distance away here. So 0 is going to start here and work its way down. So that's how it went on the forward wing skins. Let me show you what I did with the aft wing skins. It's kind of the same thing. you just look at the lines here and the drawings and find these lines that show the distance. See if I can get it out wide enough here. That'll show the distance all the way across from one reference line to the other reference line. And you kind of go about it the same way. Now what I did, since there's two different pieces here, a top and a bottom aft wing skin, I went and highlighted in orange and kind of drew down that this table goes to this one, this table goes to this one, and I did the same thing over here. This table goes to the top drawing and this table goes to the bottom drawing, and I make these notes and highlight them in a different color so that I know that the holes are in a different place than just the normal spacing that's called out. And you basically do the same thing with these grids. And here you'll notice though there's inboard and outboard. So when you look at the skin, it'll show inboard and outboard. So when you're measuring along H, this reference line of H right here, you'll take the measurement and you'll either go inboard or outboard, and you do the same thing. You just kind of look at the measurements and look at where the furthest distance is, and in this case it's outboard, so that would mean that that's for up here, and then the closest distance, which is inboard, on the 2-inch mark, which is right over here from this line, inboard on that mark 5/64 inboard. So that kind of gives you an idea. There's a little bit of interpretation with it. So the best thing to do, you know, is you can draw this up on a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be full size, but it can give you kind of an idea as to how things are. And you can kind of change the measurements, you know, on your piece of paper. Just kind of scale it down a little bit, if that helps. Well, I hope this helped a little bit. I'll try and email this off to you.